Hi, my name is John Sagerson, and in this video I will be discussing the internal factor evaluation that we conducted for Scientific Games. The internal factor evaluation is a strategic management tool used to analyze the relative strengths and weaknesses of a particular business. This analysis is composed of the internal audit, the value chain analysis, and the ratio analysis. Each of these management tools gives us insight into factors that pose either strength or weakness for the company being studied. Once these factors are identified, they are given a probability and impact rating to help sort out which factors are likely to occur, as well as which factors will have the greatest impact on the company. We then give each factor a weight between 0 and 1 to signify their importance, making sure that the sum of all of the factor weights adds to 1. A rating between 1 and 4 is given to indicate the relative strength or weakness, with a 4 being either something that the company is very strong at or very weak at. Lastly, we get a weighted score by multiplying the weight by the rating, helping us to determine which factors are the most essential for the company to focus on.
We first begin with the internal audit, which studies the firm's core competence, distinctive competence, and competitive advantage. In this regard, we decided that Scientific Games has 4 main strengths: innovative products, acquisitions, employee ingenuity, and global presence. However, for this video, we decided to focus on the 2 strengths that had the highest weighted score, which were innovative products and acquisitions. Because innovation is at the core of Scientific Games' business strategy, we decided that this should be the most heavily weighted factor at 0.16 with a rating of 4, because this is what the company truly excels at. Each year, the company shows off their most cutting-edge technologies and products at gaming expos and trade shows. These products include slot machines, casino games, mobile applications, and digital betting software. The next biggest strength that we identified was Scientific Games' ability to acquire companies. We gave this factor a weight of 0.11 with a rating of 4 due to Scientific Games' impressive list of acquisitions since their founding. The majority of their most recent acquisitions have been software and mobile companies, allowing them to expand into the rapidly growing online and sports betting markets. We also saw the acquisition of smaller companies such as Bally Games as extremely valuable, giving Scientific Games wider access to popular casino games. The ability to acquire companies is possible due to the company's access to capital, both debt and equity, with their market cap being at around $2 billion today. However, a couple of weaknesses did also come up during the internal audit. Both of these weaknesses had to do with Scientific Games' financing, which is a very important part of their business strategy. Without access to capital, Scientific Games won't be able to continue acquiring companies and expanding globally, both of which are crucial to maintaining their position as an industry leader. Scientific Games' stock has a relatively volatile history, with a downward trend as of late. In the past month alone, the stock has dropped over 20%. This cannot be comforting to shareholders and could affect access to capital if this trend is not turned around. In addition, the company has a net debt that has peaked at $8.6 billion in the past 4 years. This debt was most likely used to fund their expansion and acquisitions, a necessary cost, but it still needs to be carefully managed so that it does not get out of hand in the future. We gave both of these factors a weighted score of 0.04 because while there may not be weaknesses that need to be immediately addressed, they should be monitored in the long run. The next tool that we use in the IFE is the value chain analysis. The value chain analysis studies the activities that a firm performs in order to deliver a product or service to their target market. We found that the most important factors in our value chain analysis were Scientific Games' expansion of their business through acquisitions with a weighted score of 0.15, their relationship-focused sales strategy with a weighted score of 0.12, and their ability to differentiate their products with a weighted score of 0.12. We found these most important factors to be strengths, and they matched up well with the factors discussed in the internal audit. As was already discussed, Scientific Games is proficient at recognizing up-and-coming companies in markets that they plan on expanding into, and then acquiring these companies for the benefit of their firm. This activity has given Scientific Games a foothold in just about every segment of the gaming and lottery industry, although there's still room to grow. The acquisition process is fed by the company's access to capital, without which would make this value-adding activity impossible. Next, their sales strategy that is specifically designed to assure that they retain existing customers has added a great deal of value to the firm's operations. This begins with the great care that Scientific Games takes in producing and distributing all of their products, ensuring that it meets the customer's expectations, which has established Scientific Games as a reliable brand. There is also a strong emphasis on customer service, and employees are encouraged to build a rapport with the customers they engage with. The final strength that we identified from the value chain was Scientific Games' ability to differentiate from its competitors. This applies to many of their products, but particularly their gaming machines found in casinos. Their machines are designed to be particularly comfortable to casino patrons due to their ergonomic design. The more comfortable the machine, the longer the customer is willing to play, thus generating the casino more revenue. This makes casinos more likely to buy machines built by Scientific Games, meaning that more profits for casinos leads to more profits for Scientific Games. Both their sales strategies and their ability to differentiate are made possible due to their vast employee network, all of whom are thoroughly trained so that they are qualified to provide the best service and the most desirable product designs. The last step in the IFE is the ratio analysis. This analysis measures various financial ratios that can be broken down into four main groups: liquidity, leverage, activity, and profitability. These ratios can provide us with a great deal of information, such as how quickly Scientific Games is turning over their inventory, their capital structure, and the return on stocks for shareholders. The first factor of this analysis that we found significant was the company's current ratio. The current ratio is a liquidity ratio and measures whether or not a firm has enough resources to meet its short-term obligations. Scientific Games has a current ratio that is significantly higher than the industry average, at 1.78 versus 0.71, meaning that they are more liquid than their competitors. This allows them to pay off their debt more readily, which therefore allows them to pounce on potential investments or acquisitions. We consider this a fairly significant strength, with a weighted score of 0.24. The other factor that we identified through this analysis was the firm's debt to enterprise value. This ratio tells us how levered the company is and how much debt they finance with. Scientific Games is a ratio of 0.86, which is above the industry average of 0.64. Although Scientific Games holds more current assets than its competitors, which can help to combat this debt, we still see this as a significant weakness, giving this factor a weighted score of 0.36. Should Scientific Games fall into hard times, this debt could cripple the company and make it very difficult to operate the business with the strategy that Scientific Games has become accustomed to. Thanks for watching.